good! Beer is good! Beer is good! Let's go drink some beer! 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 Beer!
What's happening? It's Friday. It's still cold as hell here, but that's the way I like my beer. Today we are looking at local species. This is the first one that I'll be trying from Paul, PA Brew News. And off of what he just sent, if we looked at one a day, we'd get through half a month. Thanks, Paul. This is the one that, this is the only one that froze. So, wanted to get to this one right away, and this may not be a perfect example of this beer. Oh, my hand is slippery. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong with that? So the beer was oozing out past it, and I can't get it out of there. There we go. Wow, that cork is like slippery. That was kind of non-eventful. Okay. See that back there? Right there. Yep, got the bolt back from Moss, Gun, and Pond. Well, it's good to see we still have carbonation. Took a hit and just kept on coming. Yeah, good carbonation. Has kind of a beery like smell to it. Kind of a little bit of a floral kind of notes. Some sweetness in there. That's probably because it's from Paul. Okay, well, definitely still going as far as carbonation goes. Little ice never wasn't about to stop this one, huh? Cheers, guys. Wow. I think in the comments, or maybe it was a text, you had made the comment that some people didn't really care for this. Kind of surprises me actually how much of a bourbon barrel taste you're getting in there. I really like that. When you're expecting to have a bourbon barrel beer and you're like, I'm not even sure I can even detect any bourbon or the barrel. This one definitely. Now I can smell that kind of the smell of the oak cask that. Well, this one didn't appear to suffer too much. It has a nice subtle kind of a floral hoppiness. It's kind of a weird one, because normally I put them in the category of kind of piney, which I prefer, and I know a couple couple of my fellow reviewers, like Steve, prefers that over the grapefruit end of it. This one's kind of a blend of both of them. It doesn't have that obnoxious fruitiness of the grapefruit, but it doesn't quite have that nice, nice piney parts to it either. So you get a nice like IPA, you know, that kind of a citrus, but more of a floral kind of a citrus. And right on the heels of that is like, here we go, here's the bourbon, and you get the you can definitely get the taste of the oak barrels that it was in. But a nice bourbon. I mean, it's not an overly done. I don't remember what the hell one it was, or if I even saved the bottle. Some of them, which are actually good, because you know, if you set out to get something that's bourbon, at least you know that it's there with this one. So that's probably what's setting it off, in that flavor is the Belgian malts, barrel-aged American hopped experimental sort of ale from Blue Mountain Barrel House. .6%. So, you know, we could pick that up just a little bit. Just, you know, personally speaking, of course. I didn't really get any sedimentation off of it. Let's see, creation of deep drawn well water, special barley malts, American hops, Belgium yeast, aged and charred American white oak bourbon barrels. Well, I don't know who didn't like it. This is good. This is kind of like right behind. I know I'm jumping. Right behind the bourbon part of it, it has a really nice bread or a biscuit kind of a finish. Just a nice smooth. Well, yeah, there's maybe a little caramel in there. A little bit of sweetness. It's like bourbon, the oak. You can really pick that up. The oak, and then there's just a little bit of a like caramel and bread or biscuit, and it just kind of leaves you with a little bit of that with a subtle bourbon still there. Yeah, this is nice. So if you're like starting to experiment with IPAs, or you have had some and you didn't like some and you liked others, like for instance, Sierra Nevada's Celebration. It has a lot of the characteristics of the Celebration, but on top of that, it has the oak barrel and the bourbon in there. So it's not a heavy hitting citrusy IPA. It's more subdued, and then you're getting that getting the bourbon and the oak in there. So like if you're experimenting with your IPAs, this might be another one to consider if you like bourbon. And we take a break in the middle of the action. Okay, well, now I'm just down the scope mount. If I had that, send it off to Bill at Bill's Gunsmithing. The only issue I kind of had is I gotta find a way to, get a little color back in there. If you look at an original Mosin Nagant, the bolt that was cut off of here would have actually been forward of where this handle is welded on, and if it would have been placed exactly where the original bolt handle was cut off, it would have fallen right into that that groove. But this handle was welded more to the back edge of it, which it's still completely functional. It's just as you can see, I ended up with quite a bit of work recontouring the stock and then making it look like it was always there. I mean, right now I just still have a little bit of light sanding to do and see if I can get it a little darker in that area. So it kind of looks okay now, but this could have been a lot smaller. But I don't know why, if they cut the original bolt off, they just didn't put this positioned exactly into that spot. And they did know that this was going in an ATI Monte Carlo stock, but it still works. I mean, like I said, it's a little bit bigger, and I'm just a picky bitch, and a lot of you already know that. But I was able to make it work. So, got that. So now if I can just get my hands on the scope mount. I got the rings, already picked up the scope. Okay, well, I guess, Paul, I don't think this suffered too badly from taking one cycle into the deep freeze. Local species. Like I said, if you're kind of liking IPAs and like a bourbon, you're probably gonna like this. It's enjoyable. It's something that you probably easily drink it all night long. It's not. Some of them are real kind of heavy hitting, and kind of save them for a special occasion where you probably drink something like this all night. So on the E scale, I'm liking this. I think I give this a. It'd be nice to know what it was like before I was influenced by Mother Nature, but I give this I think I give this a 9. Yeah. What should we look at next? Well, because I really want to try it, I can practically get 30 days out of taking a look at stuff from like Paul there, along with some of the seasonals. Let's get right on the Great Lakes Brewing, their Christmas ale. I've heard a lot of good things about this, mainly from the other Paul, Hasman 440. 7.5% by volume, and it's best served at 55 degrees. And and this is a fresh one, so let's do that tomorrow. Otherwise, yeah, I don't really have anything political or whatever to necessarily bitch about. 1133 days before the asswipe is removed. You know, unless of course once again he can pull off some shit. You know, I've endlessly heard different. I'm sure it's different liberal Democrats just trying to smooch as much Obama butthole as they possibly can, trying to change it so that we remove term limits for the president. Can you imagine if this corrupt goat stroker were to circumvent the law and change term limits? The shit that this poor country has gone through. It's one thing to go through. I guess it does turn into a rant. Let's drink while we're ranting. Just me personally, I don't give a shit if you want to agree with me or not. All the things that you can think about, especially anyone that's like my age or older, what has changed? You know, little things. You know, you get a 6-year-old that, well, just recently, I think he was a 6-year-old. 6-year-old kissed a girl in school and they booted him. The whole thing with drawing a picture of a gun and you're suspended. Really? Maybe you liberal fuckheads should enlighten people and teach them about things instead of making it seem like a taboo. Because as soon as you try to outlaw things, that seems like it's when it gets worse. Can't draw a picture of a gun these days and go to school because you'll get suspended. Yet when I graduated in '85, and in I think it was my sophomore year, I had my .22 rifle and ammunition in the classroom. And the teacher was showing everybody the gun. And then up on the chalkboard, he drew a picture of a chamber and the bullet in it, and what happens, and then a breakdown of the bullet as to what happened when the primer strikes and the gunpowder ignites and the bullet travels down the chamber. Up on the Patriots Guild, you know, I put the picture up of the cap gun with the orange tip, and it's like, if you remember this, well, yeah, I remember that. Actually, I had the one where you actually had the row of paper caps, and it would self-feed, and there wasn't a goddamn orange tip on it. And it's like, our generation, with the exception of breeding liberal shitbags, you know, went pretty well. The amount of stuff that has gone by the wayside, what used to be the norm is now like somehow terrible. Oh my God, he drew a picture of a gun. Wow, really? I tell you, I almost hate to admit it, but it probably is going to take a revolution to get this country back on track. I don't know how many times Ms. Bomey says, history repeating itself, people are so frickin' stupid, just don't get it. You know, it's like, you know, how many people think that Hitler went door to door collecting guns? No, he got it just like, you know, like Obama's trying. He got it so that people turned them in. And then started murdering and executing them because they weren't able to defend themselves. That's why I don't give a shit how bad it gets. You'll never get all my guns. You'll never find all my guns. As a matter of fact, right now, if you wanted to come in here, you're never going to find them all. Just it's not going to happen. And I won't be afraid to stand up for my country when that day comes. The problem is, enough of us need to get together and start organizing this, because I personally think history, even recent history, has shown true patriots that went down in history as terrorists or evil people, when in fact that they weren't, because the government-run media is just going to make it look how they want it to look, and they're going to spin it the way they want it to spin, and they're going to show you what they want you to see. And you won't see the truth. Beer's pretty damn good, though. It just makes me sick at all the things that has even changed since Travis called. Hello.
Hello?
Guess what you're interrupting?
Donkey porn hour?
No, that was an hour ago.
You're taking some tasteful nude photos to send to Pete at the Armory Channel.
Yeah, that actually reminds me, that's probably a pretty good idea, because if I get a picture of his ass one more time.
Well, you don't have any more room on your phone? Running out of storage, or are you?
Yeah, I got a whole file. Pete's ass.
You fruity bastard.
Mm-hmm.
I can only think that I'm probably interrupting a brew review.
Hey, you're pretty perceptive.
Speaking of brew reviews, get a picture I sent you.
Oh yeah, that looked like a. Of course, would you even know what you were looking at?
Well, there was a bunch of bottles there, but no.
There was a bunch of bottles, and they had beer in them.
And they had beer in them, but none of them said Bud Light or Coors.
Well, you were off to a good start.
Actually, I did purchase one called Angry Bastard.
I think I've actually had that.
Well, if not, you're going to, because I'm sending you one. Amongst a few other selections I handpicked.
Maybe I haven't had the Angry Bastard. I've had several things that said bastard on them, though.
It's a pretty big bottle. It's a pretty tall bottle, black label with Angry Bastard on it.
Nice.
They also had a oyster beer there, some sort of oyster beer that I really thought about sending you.
And then you realized you were wasting your money, and I'll give you even...
Then I realized the bottle of beer cost $5, and I was like, it's funny, but it ain't that funny.
Yeah. I would just forward that on to Evil Neil.
I could send it to Hazmat.
Why?
Pick out some discount selections for him.
Would Paul like oyster beer? Paul?
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
Probably not. I don't think anyone likes oyster beer. I think oyster beer is a big, huge joke in the beer community.
The sad thing is the two oyster beers that I have had have both come from very reputable breweries. That one that Evil Neil sent me, that was actually from Bell's. That's one of my favorite breweries. Some of my favorite, if I could call it a daily drinker, is from there. Hop Slam, Oberon, Two Hearted Ale. But no, I
told the guy at the place that I wanted to buy some stuff for a buddy of mine who loved hops, and he started showing me bottles of beer and throwing out numbers and all these things, and I just looked at the guy like, cool. I have no idea what you're saying, sir.
Cool.
I was trying to act like I knew what I was talking about. I was like, listen, dude, you could say anything right now, and I'd believe you. What are we looking at tonight?
Local species. It was one of, I think, 16 beers that Paul PA Brew News sent me.
Oh, yeah.
The reason that we're looking at this one is of the 16 bottles of beer, this was the...
Oh, yeah, that was the one with the ice wedge in it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the only one, so I thought we better give it a try. And you know what? It had plenty of carbonation and a lot of really good flavor, so evidently it didn't mind being really cold.
Hopefully, picked out a couple of seeds. You may like me, you may hate them. Hell, I don't know, because I don't know what I'm buying anyway. So, but hopefully they'll make it to you without too much damage.
It's always risky this time of the year.
Well, dude, honestly, I was really thinking about like wrapping them in insulation or something, because I was like, great, they'll probably freeze.
Yeah, if only they made it easy to ship somebody a beer.
Yeah, no shit.
Here's what I don't get.
Not exactly.
I've been told that you cannot ship beer. Yet, the Beer of the Month Club, they send 12 of them every month.
Well, you're not supposed to send them through the postal service, but you ship them UPS.
Are you sure?
Yeah, you ship liquid. Honestly, I don't think there's a problem with alcohol with the postal service, but every time I walk into the post office, they ask me if there's any liquid. I don't think you're supposed to ship liquid through the U.S. Postal Service.
Well, technically speaking, the bottle of local species wasn't a liquid.
Technically, it's not. I honestly, I think you can ship. It's like ammunition, man. You can ship ammunition UPS. You can't ship it postal service, but yet you can. There's so many damn laws that's stupid, man. I mean, shit, you can't ship primers without a hazmat fee. But if the primer's in a case, powder's in a case, and a bullet's pressed into it to make a complete cartridge, you can ship it without a hazmat. It doesn't make any sense. It's still hazardous materials. It's just sealed in a container. Hello. Hello. Eric. That son of a bitch walked away, didn't he? Damn it, he's always doing this shit. You red-haired Irish motherfucker. He probably went upstairs to beat off on the computer with Pete. Well, anyway, what are you guys doing out there? You can come over to my channel and say hello. Disrespect me like this guy has. Can't believe that little shit walked away. Get your ass back down here, you son of a bitch. Shit. Well, stay tuned tomorrow, guys. We'll be looking at Great Lakes Brewing's limited edition Christmas ale or some shit. And probably more disrespect. Prick. Oh well. This BandEBrewReview review has been brought to you by... Who gives a shit? Nobody's watching this thing by this time anyway. You've all quit watching 5 minutes into this. Especially Ray Edwards. Oh well. See you guys tomorrow with, I'm sure, another brew review. BC Alkaline out.